Do I do a forward press? Do I do a Matt Wolf like this? You know, what do I do? Because one of the problems is we whip the hands on the inside, okay? We disconnect from the body. But by using the ground first to start this sequence in motion, as long as we've got the next part, and I give to people, is starting from here. So we gather that momentum. You see that? So it's like gather it and swing back. Gather it. I'm going to show you how a wee little move with your heel can eliminate so many issues in your golf swing. If you're wondering how to start the golf swing, what to do with your takeaway, this tiny little move can make all the difference and give you the confidence and consistency you've been searching for. So what we have is basically different takeaways. I'm not going to go over all of them, but we have the wrists. We have the one-piece takeaway. We have, do we start with the hips? Do I resist with the hips? Okay. Do I do, you know, that's as far as takeaway goes. Do I do a forward press? Do I do a Matt Wolf like this? You know, what do I do? Jack Nicklaus did a head tilt. Nick Faldo did a head tilt. All right. None of that, you know, it's individual to you primarily. But one of the things you have to stop doing, which I see kills so many golfers, and it, you know, at times it happens to me, and that's why I try and encourage as much flow into your golf swing, just like you would throwing a ball or throwing an object, okay? You wouldn't do it from a completely static position. You would generally sort of gather momentum from forward to be able to sling the club backwards, because that's what we want. It's much easier to allow the club to sling and go almost where it wants than it is to try and place it into positions, okay? Because I know from personal experience of playing and teaching that you might think you've kind of got the takeaway, but even the next day it can go. And when you're focused so much on minutia, it kind of ruins the rest of the swing. So you think the takeaway has got to be precise. Not really. We just have to change your objective with it. What I mean by that is we have to just get the club going and started, get the movement of the golf swing started, and more importantly than the positions of it. Does that make sense? So what do we do, right? If we're not trying to place the hands in position, how can we just sort of say, oh, just let it go where it wants? And you think, well, my swing will let it go where it wants and it does all this, right? Well, the swing and the takeaway and everything is going to work on your hip pivot a lot more than you think, all right? And the more you base your swing off how the hip pivot moves, which is basically here, we don't want it turning too flat. We don't want it sort of tipping down too much. We just want a nice sort of wind up, if you will, of this hip movement here, of this pelvic, all right? And if we get that working a bit better, we can allow the club to flow a little bit better to get ourselves on a nice golf swing plane, right? And more importantly for this video, to get the swing sort of started and the takeaway correct. Now, I mentioned before, like one of the best drills I use and I give to people is starting from here. So we gather that momentum. You see that? So it's like gather it and swing back, gather it and swing back. But sometimes it's a bit hard to bridge that gap because it's like, well, that feels good. But then when you get over the ball, it's like, okay, I've got no room to gather. So what do I do? Well, it's like if you're stuck over the ball here a lot, you're going to love this. Because, as I said, we've got the forward press, we've got all that kind of stuff. All I want you to do is focus on your right heel, okay? That's what we're going to concentrate on first to sort of start the golf swing, all right? As we begin the swing, before we stand so static, what we're going to do is actually raise the heel here. We're going to raise this heel up, okay, and we're going to just push it back down. And that very simple movement of pushing this heel down here, what that's going to do is not only start your golf swing, it's actually going to create an intent that's going to help us a great deal. Because one of the problems is we whip the hands on the inside, okay? We disconnect from the body. But by using the ground first to start this sequence in motion, as long as we've got the next part, which I'm going to talk about, we can actually pivot and get the swing going a lot better, a lot smoother, right? That planting down is our trigger to start the momentum of the swing. There. And you can just rehearse this little movement again and again, and then all you do is carry on the swing a little bit longer, all right? Now, you can do it with every club. I don't want you to raise it up too much. It's just a little heel plant, all right? But it's going to really assist your sequence. Once you have that feel to start the swing, I want you to make sure that you tap on the next factor. The next important factor is to make sure that as you're gripping the club, you've got a firm grip, yes, but we want to have suppleness. We need to make sure that we can really feel the weight of the club. I talk about this a lot, but I have to keep reminding people, all right? You have to feel the weight of the club. And as you start this momentum, I don't mind a little bit of wrist lag here, and allow the body to dictate it. Allow that pivot to dictate it. Now, if you find that your takeaway, perhaps you see it on video or something, that it's coming on the inside too much when you do this, that is going to be because you are sort of turning your hips too flat. We've got videos and where we're talking about the pelvis sort of winding up this way. When you do that correctly, the club will sort of stay outside a lot more. But you have to have feel and flow into it. We're not trying to place it into positions. We're just trying to allow it to get to where we want to be. And if it's not getting where we want it to be, we have to adjust the momentum and the movement sort of pattern to get it there. Don't focus on the minutiae. Let's work on the bigger parts and you will be in the right spot. So now we just piece it together, okay? So make some practice swings if you have to from the beginning here, but place that heel down, all right? That's what we're trying to do. We're placing that heel down. Then we're making our backswing just to there. That's how you're going to start. So when you walk up to a shot, I don't want you to delay too much. I don't want you to pause too much. I want you to make sure that you have flow, that you can feel the weight of the club, that everything is sort of always in motion. And as you get over the ball, I want you to just raise that heel up, and then we're just going to plant it back down and start the sequence like that, okay? Just there. And you'll notice that it'll get the hips behind you, you'll load into the right side a little bit, and it'll clear your backswing out of the way. And it will give you a consistent takeaway. All right, so let's try and hit one here. It's always a bit hard when I'm nattering away, but I really want you to try it. So raise the heel, okay? Raise the heel, slam it back down, and swing through. All right? Now I tell you, that was my first shot of the day. 7-iron went 180 yards because that's about how far we are here. Actually, it's about 185. I hit it perfect. The swing, was it perfect? No, but I tell you what, if I hadn't of just allowed flow to happen and sort of triggered the swing that way to allow the, to not get bogged down and just to swing the club with a bit more freedom, it would have been a bad shot. As much as you can, feel that momentum gathering. Just practice some little shots here, okay? Even half swings at home right now. Plant the heel and see how it can sort of pull you back. If you find that you're sort of bringing the club on the inside, it's because you're turning the hips too flat. So you can sort of combine it with this move, which is there, okay? There, instead of here. And just allow those arms to flow. But just practice some half swings to begin with to give you that momentum.